Hey, welcome everyone. Today, my guest is Joe Van Bolderen, and he is the CEO and founder of VBCG. Welcome, Joe.
April, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm going to start by introducing your company in the way I understand it. And then I want you to come in and, kind of correct me if needed or add to what I understand. So basically, when CFOs or finance leaders are considering an implementation of something big, right? You work primarily with Anaplan, but you also have the capabilities of doing other systems. That basically, one of the questions is, COE, like what direction am I going to take this? Are we going to do this internally? Are we going to use a partner to implement and then go internal, or are we going to go the partner route long term? And my understanding of what your company does is you basically become the Anaplan COE, and you do it in a way that is cost effective and more efficient than what a company considering a big system like this could do. So now you fill in the blanks and correct what anything I said wrong and add to what I said about your company.
Yeah, so we're an Anaplan partner. We actually only do Anaplan, so we're solely
Okay.
focused on that. And we have a whole team in El Salvador and a training program there where we train up everyone ourselves. So I went down there myself as a master Anaplanner. I've been in the partner ecosystem for 9 years, from Spalding Ridge to Grant Thornton and others. Started VBCG, bootstrapped it to really go to market with a unique strategy. So we do new implementations, but we really focus on the Costco type support. So Costco is really good at shared economies scaled, which is essentially, when you go there that you're going to get a pretty good deal. You're going to get a lot of whatever you get there, but you're going to get a pretty dang good deal, and you're going to trust that they're going to provide a good price every time. And that's why people go back. And that's why they didn't grow suddenly at the beginning and then just level off and maybe not last. This is why they've lasted for so long, is because people trust their brand. And we really don't want to be like other consultancies and try to get the most out of that implementation. We want to be the long-term partner. So we come in with this unique, I wouldn't even call it support because it's not a ticketing system. It's really meant to be your full-time companion of a master Anaplanner of 10 hours a week in the US, and then 40 hours of a model builder in El Salvador. So we break down the barriers of trusting a nearshore resource that knows Anaplan, because that's all they do, while also having the expertise of a master Anaplanner to be able to make sure you're building in the right way and managing the team in the right way to get things done and not just be running around in a fire drill, but also get things done as far as growing the system in the organization to new use cases.
So walk me through why why did you feel like this was necessary? Coming from the background that you described, um, you know, how does this fill in something that wasn't out there before?
So I think it comes down to, where is the budget? Where's the money, right?
Okay.
In organizations, you usually have a big upfront CapEx cost for a new project. So there's a lot of money going to that, to new innovation. Now, once you get that approved, you also have a support tied to that, whether you hire new roles or you outsource it. That's a lower budget for ongoing maintenance. So we're really coming in at cheaper than a ongoing maintenance model builder type role, or architect type role, so that we're really competing with that. And most consulting firms do not want to compete there, right? But that's what everyone else is doing. So we're not trying to compete with them on just new implementations and that's it. We really want to go after helping the whole Anaplan ecosystem at an affordable rate where we can actually get in, and then showing them how they can grow. Because sometimes Anaplan just falls off because the team doesn't know how to leverage it the right way. And Anaplan doesn't know how they need to leverage it the right way in order to grow the account. So we try to help both have a win-win and make sure that everyone has a successful relationship and uses Anaplan at its highest value.
Okay. So you don't focus on new implementations? Do you come in after the fact, or can you do implementations and then you stay in after the fact?
We can do implementations. In my 9 years, I've been a part of 35 plus
Okay.
implementations. So we do that, but that's not our main go-to-market strategy, right? We usually work with AEs at Anaplan or customer success at Anaplan and other partners really on the support end after the fact, so that
Okay.
we land more often, unless we bring in accounts or have a good relationship with certain accounts. We bring in our land is the support type model, and then our expand is with them to increase support or keep the ongoing support over time.
Okay. So some people might call that managed services, but your differentiator is this isn't like a ticket or you have a bucket of hours or whatnot. And nor is it supported by, offshore resources. Like some COEs kind of go into that model. Once they're really established, then they'll go into an offshore support. And so that's kind of part of your differentiator is that you're using nearshore resources that have been specially trained by you. And so it's more valuable than than an offshore, for example. You're getting more value out of it, but for a similar price that what you budgeted for that ongoing support. Is that kind of
Yeah, cheaper and more value is our goal. Again, like
okay?
Costco. So
Yes.
when we get a request, we don't just say, okay, put it in the system, service now, we'll get the ticket, we'll build it without talking to you. That's not what we do.
Right.
Um,
Right.
that's kind of how managed services currently looks, especially at lower cost models. We are a partner of Anaplan. We come to the table with suggestions. We say this is best practice. We work with you while having the advantage of being always there and available for the team when there are fire drills. Undoubtedly, that happens. And then when you're building up that new planning platform and different use cases.
Okay,
So
that was my next question. So do you support that build out process? Like the initial use case is complete and they've used you for ongoing support and then it comes time to expand. Can you do that?
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. So that's a part of our expand model, right? We do those new implementations on an existing model. So you've got to make sure you understand the original model, can connect back to it, especially if you have a data hub or ADO. Now that that's a newer thing, right? More people are going to ADO. So we try to also just a big part of it is enabling teams and the ecosystem. So we've published videos on how to set up ADO, all the data integrators. That's free on YouTube. We want to make sure people understand that we know how to do all of this. They can do it themselves if they'd like, or they can bring us on. And it's really important for us to make sure once we go to that different use case, the current use case we came in for, the team set up for success there if they want to transition their team to support that Anaplan instance rather than us, right?
Yeah.
We want to work with the team to make sure they're getting the most out of our time.
Yeah. And so you described, you kind of been bootstrapping up to this point. You're picking up momentum. Do you have any feedback? Like what companies that you work with have said about your services and how they're working right now?
Feedback from customers. We actually just published a post this morning about this. So,
Nice.
what are our customers saying? So, I think in the end of the day, we had we have a customer who we work with the finance team, but accounting is also hand in hand. They do commentary, they tie out numbers in Anaplan, and their controller said, "Where can we find, you know, our model builder on that project? Where can we find one of you to help us with what we're doing in Oracle?" And they are
Mm,
almost about to expand in Oracle into consolidations, and we were naturally, since we had that good relationship, able to say, well, Anaplan now has Fluence, which is relatively newer. Not everyone knows that. So we're able to, with our expertise, find that gap and say, well, you actually can use us more if you'd like with this other offering Anaplan has. And again, it's a win-win for everybody, right? We
hmm.
already have that good relationship. They know we can deliver what we say we're going to, and we can also bring Anaplan in the right circumstance. But on Anaplan's end, they wouldn't see that otherwise, right?
Right.
On our client's end, they wouldn't recognize that they have a tool that's integrated with Anaplan already. So
Yeah.
again, win-win-win on all sides.
Yeah, I love that. A lot of people don't understand how robust it really is. And because you guys have been in the ecosystem for so long, you can not, like you were saying before, it's not just a ticket, it's you're consulting. You're giving suggestions and best practices, and you're coming in and you can point things out that they couldn't necessarily see or know about the Anaplan ecosystem.
That's right.
So what objections? So, from the standpoint of, let's say someone is listening to this and they say, this all sounds great, but I don't think my team's going to go for this. What sort of advice do you have for someone who might be fighting that uphill battle to do something that's so different than the traditional way, like bringing someone in house, for example, or, something like that?
Well, it is hard to pinpoint for customers because you don't really know what rapid progress looks like until you have it. So our customers now understand what that's like compared to, what they either used to do or what they were used to with other applications at their prior companies and so forth. So I think exposure is a big thing. It's being open to saying, okay, why would this different model be better, right? Being open to learning about what is a new strategy. So if you're comparing, right, two people rather than one, that's an automatic benefit, generally speaking, if you're trained up because you have two minds to think together. And then two people where one very senior in the ecosystem, where you wouldn't get that level of talent if you hired someone in-house, right? So just looking at that at face value, okay, well, I can get them and that understanding, they can tell me exactly what they know quickly in the 10 hours a week that we have them. And then the model builder can build it out. So you're really getting a lot more for your money because we're able to split it up in this way. And we have a whole business built around this model, which most consulting firms do not. Most consulting firms use an SA like 20 hours a week on two different projects. So once you start getting into 10 hours a week, that really breaks up. Okay, what do you do when you have one 10-hour a week project, one 20-hour a week project? Do you just make that person work another 20 on top, another 10 on top? Usually that's what actually happens. And then people aren't getting the attention that they need. So our structure is set up to be able to manage this in the right way. So it's all about being open to new possibilities. And that's why we have models starting with a month, 3 months, up to a year, so that people can really test it out and see what they think. And that's
Got it.
usually what we have to do to get there.
Got it. So you talk about rapid progress, and it's hard to explain that to someone, but what have you seen? Like, what does that look like in a practical way? So, you're getting more experience, but when it comes to, let's say expanding a use case, what does rapid progress look like and feel like?
Yeah, so a great example is we had a customer build out long range planning capabilities, and they had never done that before in general. So they wanted to start with, okay, we do most of our planning in Excel. We're transitioning to Anaplan, but we haven't yet here. So we want to build it out in Excel because that's what the finance team knows best at this point, and then get it into Anaplan. What we said was, well, we might as well, since we're here and this is a part of the roadmap anyway for Anaplan, why don't we co-build alongside? And that generally is not how we approach projects because we'd like it to be vetted out and then built. But this was a unique situation where, well, again, we're a part of the team. So if they're going through it, we might as well learn it with them. And it actually turned out to be a phenomenal success because we not only were able to keep up with their build in Excel, we were able to help correct mistakes that were in the Excel document to vet out and prove out Anaplan even more. So we were able to gain trust in the system, showcase the improvements because Excel was getting bogged down by how much was in there. And again, that's one of the big importance of SaaS planning tools like Anaplan. And gain that trust and show them that, hey, we can keep up and build this, not only with one person really building it out, but with any other use case that you can think of. So that was a really exciting time to value and showcasing of the possibilities of what you can do in Anaplan.
That's cool. I really like that. That because that's not you saying no. We don't do Excel anymore. But it's you saying, "Okay, we see where you're at." And like you said, you're gaining trust along the way. And so then the tool has a better chance for long-term success too because they can see the benefits as you're co-building with them. So that's really cool. That's a great example. So let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk a little about AI. That's something you post a lot about. That's something that you are passionate about educating people. And a lot of people, what I've noticed is that, AI is such a buzzword. It's all over the place. And CFOs and finance leaders know that they need it. They know that they have to integrate it. A lot of times it's done in a way that's just kind of like black box and only the data scientists understand what's going on, but that AI is already built in to a lot of these SaaS systems, including Anaplan, and that you're taking it a step further. So kind of describe to the listeners like what AI is to you and how it's used in what you do.
Sure. And it definitely is a buzzword, right? When we say AI, what are we referring to? And
Right.
technically, it's just an extension of software. It's just smarter software. It's learning software. So a lot of people are referring to LLMs, so large language models such as ChatGPT, which is an extension of AI. It's definitely a software, a type of AI, and it's a very powerful type, right? It is definitely causing an explosion in what we know software is. So what can we do with that now with LLMs? That's changing the game in software development because now anyone can be a developer. You look at Cursor, you look at Copilot, you look at all these other tools that help you code. And anyone that doesn't know how to code, like I don't know how to code, but I understand structures enough to where I can just type in, hey, this is what I want to build. And every 4 months, they're getting better and better at building exactly what you're describing. So that's phenomenal and exciting. And there's a lot of coding languages that are doing really well with Claude or OpenAI or Google or you name it. None of those are as focused on Anaplan. And we are doing what Claude is doing for Python coding for Anaplan. So we've gone out, we understand Anaplan really well. I've had a background in building some neural nets back to 2014, so it's always been a passion. Nothing I've brought to work quite yet until this moment, where we have the AutoBuilder, which as of 8 months ago, maybe 9 months ago now, we started, and we're at a point where we're creating functions to actually apply to a model that's generated completely by a prompt. So you can
Okay.
prompt it and it can go all the way through. So I will say the next thing that I think of that most people think of is what does that mean for me as a model builder? No matter what we say or do, it's going to come for the basic level of our job that we're doing. So we just need to upskill with that, right? If we're able to automate our build as a model builder, that leaves so much more time to do everything else that we do in our jobs better. So it's not going to
Hmm.
happen all at once. It's going to take a little time to do everything that we can do. And that will just be our transition period into, okay, what else can we do to provide value? How can we leverage
Yeah.
this AI? And if you're not leveraging it, you're definitely going to fall behind. So everyone needs to pick it up as quickly as they can.
So if you are a model builder and you do want to upskill and up level, what are some suggestions? Like where would you start?
We use at our company ChatGPT and forms of it, other LLMs, every single day for everything we do. So it's your expert in anything, which is something we've never had before, right? The Google was one thing, but this is another level, right? It is, you do have to fact check. You can prompt in certain ways to get
Yes.
better,
Yes.
accurate information, but it's kind of the sage. It can just tell you anything you want. Um, and that's so valuable. It doesn't, like bosses, managers, so forth, don't have to spend as much time guiding their team. They can guide them on how they can use these LLMs to get started until there's really questions that they can't get answered the right way or they want to confirm. So we've been able to upskill our whole team not only in Anaplan, but in building out this AI system as well. This is all something that we've picked up collectively. It's a new technology. Not many people know about it, so we might as well be on the cutting edge. So again,
Hmm.
for the other people out there, please spend time using LLMs just for fun if you want to start, but use it for work. That's why we have AnaGPT available, which is an Ana fine-tuned and like a GPT tool that you can ask Anaplan specific questions against. And then that's why we have the AutoBuilder, which does the architecture and model build.
So when a company uses your services, then they also get access to AnaGPT, or can anyone access AnaGPT right now who, model builders outside of, they're not using you, for example, but do you have it open to everybody, or is it just accessible to those who are working with you?
AnaGPT is free on our site. It's
Okay.
also, there's a older version that's on the GPT store if you have ChatGPT, but the most modern and up to date and most efficient versions on our website for free for everyone. Now, the Auto Builder, on the other hand, it's accessible in the beta form that it is to all of our customers. Now,
Okay.
that's AutoBuilder 3. AutoBuilder 4 will come out in 2 to 3 months from now, and that will be uh, finally for us a paid product to where
Okay.
anyone that's not our customer can access it. Um, whether you're outside of the beta program, outside of our customer base, that'll be available for all.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you're just learning ChatGPT, you threw out a couple of others that I'm not super familiar with. So you said Cursor is somewhere where you can learn how, not like how to code, kind of go back to those, like those different options, so that someone listening can again understand like where to start, where to go, just play around and experiment.
Yeah. So if you are a developer, you would know a VS Code, which is an IDE that developers would use. Some use some other IDEs, but VS Code is essentially or sorry, Cursor is essentially a branch of VS Code. So when you're developing, when you're coding, you can just prompt and ask questions and say, hey, build me this. And then you can
Okay.
say, hey, did you see this button? Can you change this button to look more like either this image or describing what you want it to look like?
Hmm.
And it
Okay.
will automatically code and apply it. And then you can test it right away. So the speed at which we're able to develop software now is wild. It's insane. So
Right.
very impressive product, worth trying out if you're on the more technical side.
Okay, got it. Okay, so you said Cursor, Claude. Is that another one I heard you say?
Yeah, Claude 3.7 was released within the past couple weeks, and Anthropic is a competitor to OpenAI. So think
Okay.
of a similar ChatGPT type tool.
Okay, got it. Are there any other tools or suggestions that you have for people who really do want to understand the value of AI and start to use it, so that they don't digital finance, right? It's is kind of a thing that I've heard and seen. Gartner says it, that finance professionals are one out of two finance professionals will need to be digital by the year 2027. And so this is kind of what I think of is if you want your digital skill set, like these are the kinds of things that will help you get there. Do you agree? Do you think there's more?
100% agree. Uh, if you don't pick up this talent of using LLMs, prompting, knowing what tools to use, there's going to be other people using them and working at a much faster pace. So you
Okay.
want to make sure your
Yeah.
output's up. And, what I do is I use my favorite social media accounts, LinkedIn or X or whatever else you use to follow creators that are focused on the latest AI products.
Okay.
And this is easy enough for me because I'm really enjoying it. I love the new technology. It's what we're involved in. But it's everything's moving so fast that that's the only way that we can stay up to date is seeing what people are releasing. And again, these release schedules by OpenAI and by Anthropic are every 3 to 4 months. So every time they improve, our products improve. We
Yeah.
improve internally as far as what we're able to output.
Okay.
So that would be my suggestion. You can also ask ChatGPT which accounts you can follow, and what's the latest. Right? So that's the greatest loop back to GPT itself.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything, first of all, thank you. That's super helpful. And maybe, we had talked offline about a guide. Maybe we can put together some of the people that you follow in some of your recommendations in a guide for the people who are listening here. Because that would be really helpful for me. It's like when you want something, but it just feels so overwhelming at first. Just help to have a few things written down, a few places I can click, a few people, articles I can read to just get started so it doesn't feel so intimidating.
Absolutely. Be happy to share that.
Okay. And then just as a, kind of wrap up, is there anything that we have failed to talk about that you feel would be helpful for, finance leaders to understand about you and your services in particular?
Building is the future. That's just the name of our product. But I mean, we want to take the bricklaying tasks and make it just so much easier for everyone to use Anaplan and then, eventually other systems, right? We want to make sure that we're automating the stuff that I know how to do like the back of my hand, but it just takes me a lot of time. And usually we have model builders do. If I can just tell a system to go and build it, everything's more efficient. Everyone can do more efficient jobs and more high profile jobs because they can leverage tools like this. So that is
Yeah.
the future, whether people like it or not. Like you said, digital, that is happening in every aspect of business, no matter where you look nowadays.
Got it. Thank you. That's really amazing, isn't it? It's really amazing. And so, learning to, I feel like partnering with a company like yours, you use that phrase rapid progress. And as I listen to you talk, I can see it. I can see that vision of rapid progress so that these mundane tasks are being done for you and they're being automated. And so that those, especially those high performers, they already make a huge difference in companies. But now you're freeing them to really do next level stuff. And so when it comes to, forecasting, like how many different drivers can you plug in and like start predicting the future, and just it's kind of exciting to think about, where you can take this as a company.
And we're very excited about it as well. Thanks, April.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.